Hi, in this video I will talk about the debate surah, and I will relate the verses to the novel scientific findings. God has heard the woman who debated with you about her husband and complained to God. God heard everything the two of you discussed. God is hearer, seer. Those among you who estrange their wives as their mothers know full well that they are not their mothers. Their mothers are the women who gave birth to them. Indeed, they are committing a blasphemy, a falsehood. God is pardoner, forgiver. So later it explains those who estrange their wives in this manner, then reconcile hereafter, shall atone by freeing a slave before resuming their sexual relations. This is to enlighten you. God is cognizant of everything you do. So here, my interpretation is that, so they say that you are like my mom, I'm not interested in you sexually. It's like a sexual disorder and related to psychology. And the method and then the wife is not happy with this because it's a lifetime desire, and that's this not only about having a child. And God says that shall atone by freeing, and also if it's not possible, if you cannot have slave to free, it's a very important point. And God knows maybe there will be no definition of slave to free, but these verses are universal, so it's still valid. You shall fast 2 consecutive months before resuming sexual relations. If you cannot fast, then you shall feed 60 poor people. You shall believe in God and His messenger. These are God's laws. The disbelievers have incurred a painful retribution. So here, previously I mentioned that this may be related to a lot of pleasure, and they somehow cannot get pleasure, and they don't want it, and for psychological reasons. And the studies show that, interestingly, one study showed that how different types of love activate the brain. A new study explores how brain responds to various forms of love, from parental to romantic, using advanced imaging techniques. Researchers found that love for one's children generates the most intense brain activity, especially in the reward system. The study also shows that love for pets and nature activates different brain areas compared to interpersonal love, with pet owners displaying unique neural responses. These findings offer insights into the neural mechanisms of love and could inform mental health interventions. Parental love triggers the strongest activation in the brain's reward system. But it's important that also in the Quran we see that you cannot just adopt a child and say that you are my child. And it's also related to this, and in our brain it shows it's different. All types of interpersonal love engage social cognition areas, but with varying in intensity. Brain activity linked to love for pets can indicate whether someone is a pet owner. So and here the topic comes, and my explanation. And the law to mom actually mentioned by Freud. And Freud says that if people pick lovers similar to their mothers. And this is the theory so far. But it probably activates different area. And it is a taboo to have relationship with mom. So if they relate these two behaviorally, mom to their wife, then they don't want to have relationship with them. So this is like a psychological disorder. And this metaphor is interesting because it says, it indicates it. It's very interesting. And and it causes big problems. They may love each other less. And another interesting thing is, fasting is a is one of the solutions. And giving up things that you like. So freeing slave is also not free. Freeing a slave is like feeding 6 poor people, because you have to pay money. And you have to give up what you like, and you feel like you're losing and they're gaining, and you will lose your sense of strong ego. And it can be, but I think the treatment, this is the mentioned treatment. And fasting can also make people to forget their mistakes. It's like a sort of a punishment, and you learn to regulate your pleasure. And that's my interpretation. So it can be used to fix or cure this psychological problem mentioned here. But it's important that patience is the key here. And so far, what we know is very interesting. It's like Freud's theory of loving someone that's similar to mom, because we basically learn love with our parents. And also we see in the Quran there are Luqman's advising his son, and you can see the Luqman Surah. And it can trigger different brain regions, and it can create different sense of advice, because it feels like, if you look at the Luqman Surah, it feels like the advice comes from your dad. It's not your dad, but you can search the say to his son, and it's also son. Say to his son as he enlightened to him, "O my son, do not set up any idols beside God. Idolatry is a gross injustice." So here, in case if someone has an unbeliever parent, maybe they cannot believe God so much. They cannot feel like they're believing too much. But if they read this verse, they will know it. They will feel it, that their father is telling them. It's sort of like fixing with stories. But in Quran, it's not only about the fixing with stories, because it's not limited to that. Because in Quran, we see that stories are actually asking people to do something. There are some change, like fasting, praying regularly, mentioning God's name, and giving your money. It's not only limited to storytelling. It's not a story. It's not a poem. So that's all I want to say in this video. And thanks for watching this video, and God knows better. Hope to see you in the next video.